All right, so you're dreaming of that Florida sunshine, right? But then you look at your bank account and reality hits. Well, you're definitely not alone. In this explainer, we're going to hunt down some cities in Florida that aren't just cheap, but are actually great places to live. Okay, let's get into it.
Okay, so first things first, we've got to talk about what cheap even means. Because, every time a list like this comes out, you get this exact comment. And honestly, it's a totally fair point. What's considered cheap for someone packing up and leaving, say, Los Angeles, is a whole different world from what's cheap for someone in a more rural area.
So, for our purposes here, when we say cheap, we mean cheap for Florida. We're on the lookout for places that are more affordable than the rest of the state, and ideally cheaper than the U.S. average. The main tool we're going to use is the cost of living index. It's pretty simple. Think of 100 as the average for the entire country. So if a city has an index of 90, it's about 10% cheaper to live there. If it's 104, well, it's 4% more expensive. That's our yardstick. Now that we're all on the same page, let's kick off the countdown. We're going to start with our first batch of contenders coming in at numbers 10 through 7.
Kicking things off at number 10, we've got Kissimmee. I mean, if you've ever been to Disney World, you've basically been to Kissimmee. It's pretty much Orlando's next-door neighbor, living right in the shadow of the Magic Kingdom. The whole economy here is all about tourism, hospitality. You get the picture.
Now, you might be looking at that cost of living index and thinking, wait a minute, 104? That's higher than the national average? And you're right. So why is it on a cheap list? Well, because when you're talking about being this close to a massive metro area like Orlando and all its world-famous attractions, this is what passes for relatively affordable living. It's all about context. All right, moving on to number 9, we've got Bartow. And this is a complete 180 from Kissimmee. Bartow is all about that historic southern charm. Think old brick roads, classic Main Street with little mom-and-pop shops. Oh, and a little fun fact for you, this is where they filmed the movie My Girl. And when you look at the numbers, you can see Bartow's cost of living is a little lower at 103. Home prices are down a bit, and wow, that rent is quite a bit lower than Kissimmee. So you get a slower, more laid-back pace of life for a slightly smaller price tag. So for our next 2 spots, we've got 2 totally different ways to do affordable coastal living. At number 8, you've got Edgewater. This is your quiet, sleepy beach town. The big pro here is you get to enjoy the beautiful waters of New Smyrna Beach without paying New Smyrna Beach prices. The cost index is 99, so we're finally dipping just below the national average. Then, at number 7, you've got Jacksonville. This is the big city meets the beach. It's a huge, sprawling city with a proper downtown, tons of jobs, and an even better cost of living index at 97. So you get all the big city stuff plus the ocean, but the trade-off? Yeah, that big city traffic. Okay, let's move on to the next set of cities. We're getting into the middle of the list now, and this is where the value really starts to get interesting. Sliding into the number 6 spot is Lakeland, and they call it the commuter's choice for a good reason. It is perfectly sandwiched right between Tampa and Orlando, so you're close to everything. It's a really family-friendly spot, famous for all its lakes, and here's a cool one for architecture fans, it has the biggest collection of Frank Lloyd Wright buildings anywhere in the world. And with a cost of living index of 94, you can actually afford a real house with a backyard, something you can only dream of in Miami for the same price. Let's head over to the Panhandle for number 5, Panama City. If you want those picture-perfect, white sand, emerald green water beaches without the South Florida price tag, this is your spot. The economy runs on tourism and the huge Air Force Base nearby. But, and this is a big but, you have to talk about hurricanes. That area has a serious risk, and the city is still recovering from Hurricane Michael back in 2018, which is frankly a major reason its cost of living index is down at 94. And at number 4, we've got Gainesville. The secret to its affordability is simple. The University of Florida. Go Gators. You know how college towns work. An entire city's economy is built to serve a huge student population, and that means things have to stay affordable. But it's not just a college town. You've also got a really strong healthcare industry and a great cultural scene. And just look at that index. We've made a big jump down to 90. That's a full 10% cheaper than the average USC. All right, this is it. We've reached the top 3.
These are the cities where being affordable isn't just a feature, it's a way of life. So our number 3 city is Deltona, and honestly, I think this quote from the source material just perfectly captures the vibe. Deltona is your classic, no-frills commuter town, kind of stuck right between Orlando and Daytona Beach. It doesn't have the flash or the glamour of those places, and that's exactly why it's on this list. It's just a quiet, affordable place for families to live, also clocking in with a cost of living index of 90. Taking the silver medal is Lake City. And this is where we see another huge leap forward in just how affordable a place can be. The source literally called it shockingly cheap. It's a smaller, quieter city surrounded by a bunch of beautiful lakes and forests. And get this, it's the first city on our list where the median rent for a one-bedroom is under $1,000. Its cost of living index drops even lower, down to 89. So what does it take to be number 1? What's the best of the best? Well, it takes this number, 88. We're talking about a city that is 12% cheaper to live in than the national average. And that city is Pensacola. Yeah, all the way over on the far western edge of the Panhandle, Pensacola takes the top spot. It really is a hidden gem that gives you absolutely stunning beaches and a cost of living that is just remarkably low. And the numbers tell the whole story. A median home price under $300,000, and that all-important cost of living index, a full 12 points below the U.S. average. You've got a big military presence, a cool historic downtown, and some of the most beautiful beaches in the entire state. It's the whole package. So, after that whirlwind tour of Florida's most affordable spots, what's the big takeaway? What's the lesson here? I think this chart really helps put it all into perspective. So here's your baseline, the U.S. average at 100. Then you've got a major city like Jacksonville, which is already pretty impressive, coming in just under that at 97. But then you see our number 1, Pensacola, way down here at 88. I mean, that is a huge difference in your monthly budget. And this quote just absolutely nails it. A lot of people think that if you want to live cheap in Florida, you have to move inland, say goodbye to the coast. But as we just saw, from Pensacola to Jacksonville to Edgewater, that's just not true. So here's what it all boils down to. The numbers tell one part of the story, right? Pensacola is the cheapest, for sure. But is a military town in the Panhandle the right vibe for you? Or would you be happier in a historic town like Bartow? Or maybe a lively college town like Gainesville? The data shows that an affordable Florida is out there. The real question is, what kind of Florida are you actually looking for?